All right, everybody. I'm about 30 seconds early. First things first. Can you hear me? Let me know if you're having any problems with this. So far, it's been okay. All right. Excellent. All right. Okay. All right, everyone. So what do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about what's going on over here in this market? You want to talk about how you're not being allowed to know what's going on in the emerging markets, China included here. It's incredible. You know, you turn on any of the mainstream media, the brainwashing is, I mean, it's incredible. People fall for this stuff. Look here, don't look here, all the distractions, all the nonsense that's going on here. But it's the truth. And this is not something new. This is the way this game is played. And it's a terrible game. I wish it wasn't like that. It's the truth. But anyway, with that said, this market, what we're seeing now, I mean, there's so many facets to this. And I talk about it all the time. You got bond market issues. You got dollar issues, emerging market issues as well, geopolitical things. It's very difficult to get a handle on it. But here's what I want to maybe start off with here. Today's bond market kind of got me a little rattled. Now, again, let's talk about why. And it's kind of nothing new. We see it all the time. You know this. Bond market starts to sell off. Stocks start to fall under a little bit of pressure. Then all of a sudden, like a miracle happens, and bonds start getting propped up. You're getting a rally in the bond market, a simultaneous rally in the stock market. This is not the way the market works. It's not supposed to work like that, but this is the new norm. But today, because of, again, we're seeing a lot of little pieces kind of being put together here geopolitically, and all this has to weigh into the markets. Again, I do not know how, and I don't know how many of you out here are pure technical traders. I don't know how you do it. You can look at a technical chart all you want, and they're good. It's a tool, but it's only one tool. You have to expand out there. At least for me, I like to pay attention to what's going on the world stage, and again. All these things are kind of coming together here, piece by piece, and the pieces that are falling together are not looking very good here. That is the truth, and I am not saying, let's just clear this up here, that the market is going to melt down tomorrow or the next day. I'm not convinced of it. I'm not saying it's not going to either, but we do have to be mindful of. The one thing that I think here is a big factor with regard to the markets, not even going off on a geopolitical tangent here, is emerging markets. And we started hearing about this 1 or 2 months ago, but it's gone. It's kind of off the radar. So if it's not if you don't hear about it, it's not happening. But it is happening. There's no doubt that China's stock market is hurting. Ours has not as of yet. I mean, this is nothing. It looks big. Last week, we had an 800-point sell-off, followed by a 500-point sell-off. Then we had a 300 and something point rally, and so the market's kind of all over the place. And a lot of this is because they are really, really desperate to keep the environment of risk going. Okay. How do they do that? By keeping rates suppressed. Number one, by keeping the dollar weak. Number two, with these two dynamics here, this is going to simply allow cash to move into the stock market. So either we could be witnessing one of two things. One is a market trying to find a bottom, all right, waiting for earnings to come in. Earnings just started to come out. Or we have a market here, and maybe this is what was happening in the bond market today, throwing up a couple of yellow flags in front of us. We always have to be cautious here. And this is why I've been trading credit spreads like a maniac lately. Last week, and this is the God's honest truth, was the only week I was caught on the wrong side of this market in the past few months trading these credit spreads. So I urge you to learn credit spreads. It's not that hard if you're trading. You know what else to do? I mean, again, the environment we're in, environment of extremes, of extreme fakery, bet against the debt, become your own central bank. You know this, my theme since day one. I don't care what they do to gold and silver here in the short run. It doesn't matter. We all know it's fake. It's incredible. Bank after bank after bank gets caught red-handed. Rigging it, nothing happens. Nothing. Even with the LIBOR rigging, you know. I talked about this at the video, my post-market wrap-up. It's incredible. Deutsche Bank, they got two peon traders here that are gonna take the heat for this. Are you kidding me? Oh yeah, two like renegade traders were rigging LIBOR for the bank, and no one else knows about it. I mean, they really think we're that stupid. I know you're not that stupid. All right. With that said, let's cover some of your questions here. An inverse ETF. Well, first of all, it would depend on the ETF, but I don't see the point of holding an inverse ETF where you can buy puts and or calls. So I very rarely, in fact, I can't remember the last time I've traded an inverse ETF. It doesn't matter. But look, speaking of that, just real quick, I am still very leery of shorting this market despite these gyrations. First of all, what are you going to do? You're going to get short this market because soon as you place the trade, let's say you're going to enter a naked put position there, and then all of a sudden it goes against you. You get wiped out in a matter of no time at all. Yeah, look, when you're trading straight up calls, straight up puts, you better be damn right about the direction and the timing. That's the truth. And it takes, can you do it? Beyond any doubt, you can do it. And you can make a ridiculous amount of money doing that. But if you're not on the market, and I mean like sitting in front of your screen like I do every freaking day of my life, even me, I don't do this anymore. Actually, let me rephrase that. Yes, when the market was down last week, I did have a couple of naked puts open for a very short period of time. I actually posted these to my website, traderschoice.net, on the left side where I post my positions there. But I'm getting too old for that. Really, I'm getting too old. Too much stress. They'll rig it higher. You know what? I don't want to sound too complacent here. Maybe they will rig this market higher. And it all depends on what they're going to do with the bond market. And this is the Federal Reserve. This is the Federal Reserve who's managing the market, getting in here, buying up the debt, buying up the bonds. They're the lender of last resort. You know that. China's not buying our debt anymore. So someone has to make up for it. I'll give you one guess of who it is. And I don't care. What you go to the federalreserve.org, whatever the heck it is, and you want to look at their balance sheet. If you believe that's true, what they're showing you, there is something definitely wrong with you. It's not real. Like everything else around here, it's really the truth. Let's see. Yeah, I know. I heard about AIG. We'll see. Are we seeing a repeat performance here? Look, this cracks all over the place in housing. It's there. Emerging markets. Now, let me just talk about that again real quick. There is no way in this global economy, we are not isolated. We're not, an island among ourselves anymore. This is a completely different world. So when you have issues here, and this is why you're not being allowed to see it, when you have issues here in the emerging markets, how is it not going to affect our market? Look, the COD, they don't want you to know about it at all. They want you to think that the United States is it, that we're the only market on the face of the earth. You're not even allowed to know about anything else, but that's not the case. This is a global economy. And if globally the markets are not doing well, well, what do you think is going to follow? It's always going to be us last. Our market is the biggest market. That's the truth. With everything that's going to come down the pike here, it's going to be the United States that is the last domino to fall. This would be my best guess. Could I be wrong? Yeah, sure I could. But again, I'm just talking here. Let's see what we got here. All right, let me talk about that real quick. Death crosses. When one moving average crosses over another one. I've never been a real big proponent of these things. I am not saying that they don't work, but you hear about things like Hindenburg omens and again the death crossings. They sound really ominous, don't they? These are technical tools. By looking at these things and you try to gauge what's going on in a real market. This is not real. People, I love all of you, and I mean this from my heart. That's the truth. This is why I do this so much. I'm trying to make a difference here a little bit, and I know all of you are too. It's the truth. But do not even dream in your wildest imagination or dream that anything here is real. Nothing. From the political arena to what's going on here in the stock market, it's fake. And that's what bothers me the most here. We are like a communist third world country. That's what we've become here, at least with regard to our markets. That's the truth. It's managed. And this is, unfortunately, not just here in the United States, but every single developed nation, it's a joke, right? On this earth is following the same playbook. 2008 people was really the moment here where this market was trying to normalize a lot of distortions. It wasn't allowed to finish, okay? How do we know that? It's so simple. If you recall, when the Dow Jones Industrial Average got cut in half to 6,000, what happened? The Federal Reserve stepped in with quantitative easing 1. That stopped the bleeding in the market. Everything started getting propped up. QE1, QE2, Operation Twist, Operation whatever the hell they want to call it. And it's still going on now. The Federal Reserve has never stopped buying bonds. I mean, they want you to, most people, in fact, I talk to people all the time about this stuff. They believe that the Federal Reserve is not buying bonds. Well, the Federal Reserve has to. In order to keep rates where they are suppressed, the Fed has to get cash, print it out of thin air, add it to a digital screen, and buy bonds. Is this live or fake? I'll leave that up to you. But that's what's going on here. We've never been here before. This is literally like, where no man has gone before. That's where we are. Unfortunately, it's going to normalize because the free market will win. These distortions are going to fix themselves. And it is my hope, and I hope it's you too, that we don't hit that wall at hypersonic speed. Because it's not just a financial problem, people. There are some people that have been so dumbed down, and I know you realize who I'm talking about. They have no conception at all about how the financial system actually works. Maybe they think they know, and that actually makes it even worse. Because if you don't actually understand this, and you try to speculate on what it would mean if this were to happen or if that were to happen, you're going to get yourself all kinds of screwed up. That's really the truth. Let's see here. I'm having a problem with my my chat here. Keeps going in and out. I apologize for that. I don't know if that's happening to all of you out here. Let's talk about that too. Let's talk about the issue. All right, look, let me ask all of you. The question is, what's going on here over in Europe? And you tell me, what's going on everywhere. We are under an umbrella of debt. There is the debt crisis in Europe was never fixed. How did they attempt to fix it? By adding more debt onto it. How can that possibly work? It will not work. This is a scheme to keep everything propped up. Here in the United States, it's the same story. We are in a crisis of that is, honestly, you can't even get your head around. It's too big. And then you want to throw in, and I had a lot of questions about derivatives. You want to throw in derivatives of all this stuff. No one even knows how big the derivative market actually is. What is a derivative? If you don't know, a derivative is something that derives its value from another asset. Now, you can have chains of derivative. You can have a derivative of a derivative of a derivative. And no one knows how big this is. It's probably in the quadrillions. It's unbelievable, isn't it? So this has the potential to be pretty darn ugly, people. Pretty darn ugly. All right, let's see. Absolutely. Central banks are jury-rigging a system that really, again, it goes back to 2008. 2008 was the party over moment. That's the truth. The party over moment. This is a side effect, and it's been going on for like 10 years, but that side effect is going to turn fatal, and that's my biggest worry. Ripple, here's my only issue. I'm not saying not to own these things. I've owned them all the big ones. I've owned them all. My only issue, if you follow my blog, it's pretty straightforward. I have lost my mojo, people, when it comes to valuing this stuff. So I cannot put any real money to work in cryptocurrencies at this point without understanding what I'm actually doing. Look, with this market here, I think I have a pretty good handle on it. I realize the number one thing, and so do you, it's fake. Knowing that it's fake is our strength. Knowing that what they're going to do. We know what they're going to do before they do it. We know they're going to float out fake stories to try to prop up this market. We know what the Federal Reserve is going to continue to do. This is why I've only been wrong one time in all the years I've been calling the Fed. You know it. I guess one time I got a little confused, admittedly. I don't even remember when that was. That was years ago. But it's so simple. It's jury rigged, like one of you just wrote. It's absolutely rigged off the Richter scale, and it's going to continue that way. It's the truth. Thank you. Look, I don't know, again, going back to cryptos, I can't value it. So this is something I'm going to leave up to you guys and girls. I cannot tell you anymore. Look, my biggest thing, when Wall Street got their hands on the futures, of the Bitcoin futures, I explained to all of you, it's documented on my Steemit blog, how this would play out blow by blow before they did it. So I'm not pulling this out of a hat. I outlined for all of you how it would play out. I outlined for you how they would rig it, and it played out exactly like I said it would. And, it's the craziest thing. You get all these people out there. When I was warning everyone about Bitcoin and telling them to dump it when it hit like 20 grand, I sold it at like $9,700 or so. I got ridiculed on so many crypto sites. I was just looking at them. They were putting up faces of me looking like a clown and all this stuff. Some of the people that ran those sites actually wrote to me afterwards and says, Greg, you know what? I apologize for what I put up because you were right. I don't mind people doing stuff like that to me. It's really the truth. And especially if they come out and say, hey, you know what? We were wrong. You were right. I don't know everything by a long shot. I mean, I'm talking about a long shot. I just come out here, try to put this stuff together for all of you in a way that makes sense. And I'd like to think I'm doing an okay job with that. Let's see here. Gold. Yeah, you guys know I love gold. I love gold. I love silver too. Platinum, palladium. I own them all. How do I value these things? Very simple. I just know one thing. They are so undervalued that I can't even put a value on how undervalued they are. How's that? That's the truth. World central banks are going. How many times have all of you heard me say this over the years? Central banks are going to inflate and inflate and then inflate some more. Well, what have they been doing all these years? Inflating, and inflating some more. Meanwhile, they're making damn well sure they're keeping the price of gold and silver suppressed. Good. Let them play their game. We're going to play ours. Period. Will the government take over Bitcoin? I don't know how that would actually play out, if it would create a black market or something along those lines. It might actually backfire. I think if government wanted to actually take over cryptocurrencies altogether or anything else, they would do it, but it would cause a lot of problems for them. Because there's always going to be some entity out here that's going to, it's a war. It would literally turn into a war, I think. And it would probably create a black market. And it might be very lucrative for some. So I really don't know how that would play out, to be honest with you. When's the crash? You tell me. The environment is fake that we're in. We can't predict it. But what we do need to realize, and I know you know this, you're not going to be looking in the stock market when it happens. That's why today, when this market sold off again, I'm watching the bond market here. I was very leery to say this is it, because, bonds were selling off in the morning. Then all of a sudden it flipped on a dime. Crazy. Absolutely. But the bond market is where this is going to start, people. Why would Greg say that? Again, what's the largest aspect of this market by exponents? The bond market. What is the main part of this market that world central banks have decided to take over? The bond market, the debt market. So by rigging the debt market, they've allowed all of these bubbles to reinflate. Look, here's the issue. I don't think many people understand this concept, but this is important. When a bubble bursts, when a bubble pops, some pretty extreme things have to happen to reinflate those bubbles. The bubbles, which is a correction from a hyperinflated state. But what central banks around the freaking world have done is reinflate housing bubbles, reinflate stock market bubbles, and they're only going to pop again. Much worse than last time. Much, much worse than last time. It's the truth. So we do have to be cautious here. Absolutely. 3 months or 3 years, have no idea. Watch that bond market. Look for clues here. Watch the emerging markets. Look in places where the mainstream media and the mainstream financial channels, whatever, don't want you to look. When they're not talking about emerging markets, that means you need to be looking there. When they're not talking about the bond market, that means you need to be looking there. All they want you to look at, all the Confederacy of Dunces, all of them, we're talking about CNBC, Bloomberg, Fox Business, they want you to focus on the Dow Jones Industrial Average, 30 companies. They don't even want you to think about the other thousands of companies that are out there. It's the most ridiculous thing on the face of the earth. I mean, you'll have a day where stocks will finish mixed. You get the Dow that will finish positive, the S&P 500 negative, and the NASDAQ will finish negative. No. Don't look at the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ or the Russell 2000 if that would have finished in the negative. Just look at the Dow 30. It's incredible. It's really incredible. It's almost like the statement today. It's not that the stocks are overvalued. It's they're overinvested. I don't know. They cannot tell the truth. They cannot tell the truth. It drives me crazy. Vampires are real. And watch the corners of your room tonight, because I'm going to be there. You're not going to know about it, but I'm going to be there. So wear your garlic necklace. Incredible. Yeah, I need a vacation. I'm working on it. I really am. I am working on it. Oh, no. You're just talking about XRP again. Yeah, I'm doing my research on it. But again, how do I value it? Enlighten this guy sitting here. Again, I don't know everything. I'm an equity guy. I trade equity derivatives. You all know that. You know, as I'm getting older here, I'm not a young guy anymore. I can't. It's kind of difficult for me to, I guess, learn new things. So educate me. I'm not too old, I hope, to learn anything, and I'm willing to learn. Look, like I explained to all of you, I do not know everything. Let me explain this to you too. Anyone out here, anyone out there, anywhere, who believes they are the smartest guy in the room is usually the stupidest person in the room. That's the truth. So I am willing to learn new things. I know I am not right all the time. And you don't even have to be right all the time. Right? Be right most of the time. And you'll be okay. At least I hope so. I really, really hope so. Let's see. All right, so Litecoin is the right coin. Why? I don't know why. Explain to me why. It's a nice catchphrase. I love catchphrases, win elections, you know, and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know what it means. So again, please write here or write to me and tell me what I'm missing. I don't know. I'm not saying that Litecoin is not the right coin. Litecoin could very well be the right coin. I just don't know. So help me out here. Come on, I help you out, don't I? At least I try to. Help me out. Go to my blog and write a whole big thing. I always go through my comments. At least I try to. Not all the time, but I do try to do it. So tell me why Litecoin is the Litecoin, or is the right coin, or Ripple is the, I was going to say something that rhymes with Ripple. Would have got me in trouble. Has to do with rooting. You know what I'm talking about? Rooting, grasping. I think you guys got it. Everything's a scam. It's not just the USA. Everything is a scam. It's unfortunate that we've done this to ourselves. We've allowed, all of us, people of the world, have fallen into the same trap that they've fallen into over and over and over again since time immemorial, allowing the few to rule the many. Because people surrender. They just give up here. No. Here in the United States, this was a government of the people, by the people, for the people. Our forefathers were a hell of a lot smarter than the idiots that are running the show right now. But we can take this back, and we need to understand that. This is not the government. You're the government. You are the government. All right? Open your mouth. Get involved. Okay? That's the truth. Okay, let's see. Let's cover another couple here. We're getting kind of close to the end. You got banned from play. Yes, that is true. I wrote a book on blackjack strategies years ago, and I haven't played blackjack in many, many years. But see, the casinos understand that blackjack is a game of mathematics. It's the truth here. By keeping track of the deck, you can understand who has the advantage. Doesn't mean you're going to win every session, but you could. I was damn good at it. Let me tell you, I was damn good at it. Anyway, but I used to practice every day, every freaking day of my life. I was heavily involved in it. Believe it or not, a lot of Wall Street people play blackjack. Why? It's a mathematical game. I'm not telling anyone out here to play blackjack. They've changed a lot of the rules here, even in Las Vegas, with regard to the game. So don't go out there and try to learn how to be an expert card counter or anything without really understanding what you're doing. All right, let's see. I'll do a couple more here. Getting kind of late. Vegas this coming Wednesday. I might be around. Shoot me a message on Facebook. Let's see. I'm having a problem with this, people. I apologize. I am so sorry. Look, again, I don't know. Back to crypto. Please help me out here. Help me out. I don't know. Help me out, because I'm not sure. I love you too. You all know that. If you gave me $100,000, what would I do with it? Look, I don't do this. I don't, you know how many people have asked me to take their cash and invest it? I won't do it. I don't want to get involved in that at all. I came this close one time with a couple of friends of mine to opening up a hedge fund. We were going to manage people's money, and I just couldn't do it. I said, nope, can't do it. But what would I do with it? Well, what would I do with it? I do what I do now. It's very simple. I would be trading credit spreads. It's the truth. All right, one more, and then we're going to go. Oh, my God, my whole chat is going out again. Well, yeah, absolutely. Is China collapsing? Let's cover that. Let's cover that. The mainstream media, the administration wants you to believe that China is losing the trade war. The truth is not that simple. The truth is, because China is the second largest holder of U.S. debt, second only to China, to the Federal Reserve. China is the second largest holder of U.S. debt, second to the Fed. They have a lot of power. And that's why they hold our debt. They don't hold it because they like us. They have their own bond market, which actually yields more than ours. Most people don't know that. So it's not because, hey, you know what? I like those Americans so much, I'm just going to keep buying their debt. I like those Americans so much, I'm going to hoard tons of their dollars. No, they don't hold it for these reasons. It's for the reasons that we're seeing now. China, very patient people, very smart people. They have a managed market over there. Not like here. Well, we have a managed market here, but our people don't understand that. They think this is real. And I can tell you this, they're in for a rude awakening. Rude awakening. All right. This has been just over half of an hour. I hope this has been fun. I promise to do this again. Like I said, I'm going to do this like once a week, probably like on Mondays, and maybe I'll try to squeeze one out like today if I can. But this is fun. I hope you've all enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it too. I really mean this. I love all of you guys. And we're going to make this happen. We're going to get through this together. There's no doubt in my mind, no matter what happens. No matter what happens. We got each other in all of this. It's the truth. We rely on each other. We look to each other for help, for guidance. We love each other. We care for each other. We're charitable to each other. And everything else is just going to work. That's the truth. And no matter how bad it gets, again, with these things in mind, we're going to come out okay. All right. I love you all again, and I will see you in the lovely freaking morning. Bye.